healthcare and treatment, because a woman from Ashvale has been speaking about her heartbreak after watching her mum die in hospital. Valerie Bagwell was admitted to Torbay Hospital with excruciating stomach pains. Her daughter Charity says not enough was done to ease her suffering. And Charity joins us in the studio now. Morning.
Morning.
So tell us what happened with your mum.
My mum was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer back in December after a 4-week stay in Torbay Hospital prior to the end of October. She was promised that she would be kind of fast-tracked if she ever had to go through the A&E process at Torbay Hospital to either the cancer ward or a hospice. My father phoned 999 on the Friday, I think it was the 19th of December. My mum was in absolute agony. The paramedics turned up. She was asked at first to walk down the stairs. My mum was just in absolute pain, and it's something that I just am unable to describe. She was taken to Torbay Hospital. During her time in the ambulance, she was only given gas and air. No morphine was administered because apparently there wasn't any on the ambulance. She was made to wait in A&E for about 4 or 5 hours. The diagnosis was delivered in such a blasé way that it could have been the doctors were talking about the weather. They told her quite bluntly that she would die either that night or tomorrow. She was given drips and drabs of kind of little morphine shots that I would consider probably viable for a broken leg or, maybe female pains. But she didn't have anything hooked up for about, I think it was about 9 or 10 hours. When that ran out, we couldn't find a doctor, and I was physically just chasing around the hospital, trying to find someone to help my mum.
That must just have been unbearable for you to watch your mum go through that.
I think it's stolen a lot of the happy memories that I had of my mum. She had 65 great years, and all that I seem to be able to remember is those last few hours. The look on her face, it's described in the Daily Mail as the painting, the scream, and that's all I can see when I go to sleep at night. When I open my eyes in the morning, that's all that I can see from my mum.
Do you think you just caught the NHS? It doesn't help your story, but do you think you just caught the hospital on a bad day, a busy day?
I think it was busy, particularly it's the Friday night before Christmas, lots of Christmas parties. But it's the old saying, don't be ill at the weekends. And I think from the comments and emails that I've received from the Daily Mail article, it appears that this is a national issue, that there are such staff shortages at the weekends, particularly with doctors, that this just seems to be hitting the country.
Now, we have contacted South Devon Healthcare NHS Trust, which runs Torbay Hospital there. They do say that the complaint is being fully investigated, and they have offered to meet with you and the family. Is that something you'd want to do?
I feel at this time it's something that I don't want to do, as I feel that I will be given a generic response. I'm expecting it to be something like we did everything we could, and I don't believe them. So because this issue is across the country, I am going to fight for better end of life care, and I want to campaign for that.
If they said sorry, would that be a good thing?
No, because in my eyes it's admission of guilt, and it's something that they did wrong. I think what I want from this is them to put a proper plan and implement procedures for end of life care, because as far as I understand, all that's been issued is advisory guidelines. It's nothing that professionals have to adhere to. So I feel that a stronger plan needs to be put in place.
And with that, it's like, what you mean, just the way somebody's told, because that sounds quite brutal what your mum heard.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that it was something that, the doctors maybe should have delivered in a side room, away from the busy A&E, not in a papered cubicle, because I feel for other patients to see and hear that, it must have been awful for them to think that they're in there with, maybe something minor compared to what my mum had. It must have been awful. Sorry.
No. I mean, so where do you go from here?
Where do I go from here? I mean, I've taken to kind of social media. I've got my complaint with Torbay Hospital. I am trying to pursue legal action. I just want better end of life care. I know the NHS is completely stressed, stretched, and I just feel that something needs to be done. I think all the time that my mum was in hospital, she was being looked after very well by the nurses, who were completely stretched. Their hands are tied. I think care isn't a 9-to-5 job. It's not something you can clock off at 5:30 on a Friday and think that's it. People don't choose when they're ill and when these things happen.
So your mum is at peace now. Is there one good memory that you can keep from her?
I think what I would like to live on is my mum was so effortlessly selfless. She would do anything for anybody. So for her to witness all of this, she would be so proud. And I think that's what I want to live on, her legacy of caring and just helping people.
Valerie, lovely to meet you. We'll no doubt speak again because you've got fire in your belly.
Charity, yeah, charity. Yeah.
It's BBC Surrey. Good morning. It's 4 minutes.